Now, to jumpstart our day on a positive note, the realtor and speaker, Jim Jacobus. He is a trusted resource for organizations looking to get maximum results in today's competitive environment. Professionally, he has over 20 years of research and application in human behavior and performance. Jacobus is the expert on extraordinary performances, or what it will take for us individually, collectively, personally, and professionally to experience our immense potential. Please welcome Jim Jacobus.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it. Good morning. Oh, that's good. I like that. Everybody said, normally you say good morning, everybody goes, "Nyeh." Anyway, it's so good to be with you guys. What a privilege. When I got the call the other day about the opportunity to be here, my initial thought was anytime HAR invites me to do something and I can be there, I'm there. What a great organization. How awesome it is that we have such a great leader in our industry here in the Houston area, Texas. So again, good to be with you guys. Look forward to our time together. Let me answer the question very quickly many of you have in your mind. Am I kin to Chuck Jacobus? Who was thinking that? Were you thinking that? All right. Claudia, were you thinking that too a while ago? Yes, okay. So no, I'm not. I have been asked that many, many times during my career. I've been a professional speaker for almost 30 years now. And I was on a flight a few years back to San Diego, and I was blessed to be sitting in first class. And the flight attendant came up to me and she said, "Would you like to sit with your brother?" I said, "It'd be really cool, but I don't have a brother." She says, "Well, there's a Chuck Jacobus sitting in 1A, and I just thought y'all were related." And I said, "That's bizarre." And I went up and I introduced myself to him. And first thing is, if you know Chuck, he is an incredibly delightful guy. What a great person and leader and in our industry, attorney. We won't hold that against him. But I met him and everything. I shook his hand. We talked a little bit. And he goes, "I'm so glad to meet you because people always ask me if I'm kin to Jim Jacobus." That made my day right there. He could have said nothing else the rest of the time and I would have been just on cloud nine. But it is good to be with you guys here today, and I want to do a couple of things during our time together. First thing is I want to give you a tool that we can use as we look at this life after Harvey. Now, we were all impacted by Harvey to some extent. I have mucked out, I think, a total of about 15 houses in the last several months, which I would tell you is I avoid manual labor with a passion. All right, but going and doing that work was soul work. Is that right? How many of you mucked out a house or helped somebody clean out a house? That's deep soul work there, right? And so I loved doing that and got pretty proficient at it. My job was I had a guy that worked with me, and then we would take crews out, one with Keller Williams and one with my church. I go to Sugar Creek Church over in Sugar Land, and we would go out, and he would mark the cut at 48 inches for me, right? Anybody done that? You know what I'm talking about? You mark the sheetrock at 48 inches, and I had a circular saw, and I just went brrrr. That's my kind of job right there, right? And then other people would tear it out, and we just had some fun with that. But we've all been impacted by it. And the question is, what do we do moving forward? So I'm going to give you a tool that I believe will help, particularly when it comes to how we think moving forward. Then I'm going to challenge you a little bit as we move forward as well. So my passion is, she introduced me there, for the last 30 years is helping clients select, develop, and retain top talent. Our organization, my company personally, before I came into real estate, we've done a little over 700 job benchmarks. Meaning we would take the top 5 or 6 salespeople from an organization, we would do some assessment work with them, and we were identifying behaviors, motivators, and what we call core skills and core competencies. Now, first thing is behaviors do not predict performance. Never have, never will. Whatever your DISC profile is does not say whether you're going to be successful in real estate or any other job. It just tells us about how you communicate with people and a lot of other good stuff. Fantastic. I love teaching DISC sales classes and things like that, but it doesn't produce performance. The second thing we measure is behaviors, motivators, and to some extent they do. The top 2 motivators for the best salespeople in this room are power and control and money. If you're in this room and you're one of the top performers in your organization, you either did it for the money or the control or the 2 of those. In other words, you want to be able to look at somebody and go, "Is there a problem with my numbers?" No, leave me alone. All right? The thing that we really focus on, though, are what we call 27 core skills and core competencies. And of those core skills and core competencies, we focus in on the benchmark, which would be 7 of those, and then we would do assessment comparative analysis work to find out where the organization and or the individual fits compared to the benchmark. You with me? Of those benchmarks, of those 27 things we measure, there are 5 things that constantly rise to the top. We call them the big 5. Because if you take all of the benchmarks you've ever done and you gather them together and you run all those numbers in one big pile, there are 5 core skills, there's a statistical gap, and there's the rest of them. Now, that tells me those 5 are more important than the other 22. Fair? And I always pay attention to the data. I always ask, what's the data teaching me? The number 1 core skill out of the top 5, over and over and over again, almost without exception, is the core skill of resiliency. Resiliency. The best of the best in this room, when something goes wrong, you just like, next. Next. I give out little buttons in some of the training that we do, and one of them says, SW, 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 who's next? Some will, some won't, so what? Next. I have the hardest time. I am the director of the productivity program at the Keller Williams Southwest office. I have a little over 100 agents in my coaching program. With our new agents, I have the hardest time teaching them just to build a funnel of a bunch of people. And if somebody doesn't work out, they just don't work out. If you've got 10 people in the air, then one doesn't work, that's just 1 out of 10. But if you've got one that I call it, you helicopter the client, right? That's a real estate job. That's not a real estate business, by the way. And you lose that client, then you've got nothing, right? So I want to give you a tool that I've used for a long time that I believe helps all of us keep that resiliency where it should be because it keeps things in perspective. Now, again, I cannot begin to imagine what some of you may have gone through. My home was not damaged. My wife and I were very fortunate. We did have a plan, by the way. We live in Greatwood, and it was a voluntary evacuation. We stayed. We actually drove to Wharton to get food because the H-E-B there in our area was packed. So we drove down to Wharton to Junior's and to Prosex to buy the kind of food we needed to make it through the deal. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Lots of jerky, lots of beef, good stuff, right? And so we came back, and our plan was if it gets into the first floor, we'll go to the second floor. We had food and water up there. If it gets to the second floor, we'll go to the attic. We had food, water, and an axe there just in case it got to the third floor. We could chop a hole and get on the roof. That was our plan. It was awesome, you know. We started moving stuff upstairs. Anybody have this experience? My wife was grabbing pictures and, you know, the stuff that you cannot replace. You with me? I carried my gun case and my bow, and I took those upstairs and made sure they were safe. But here's the tool I want to give you, and I've been doing this for a long time, and some of you have seen me speak before, and so I apologize if you've heard this. But every morning I get up, I make a list of 10 things I'm thankful for to remind me how fortunate I am instead of whining about what I don't have. And in the midst of all of this, I know sometimes it may be difficult. If you lost everything, I can't even imagine what that'd be like. I've seen people, I've hugged people, I've prayed with people, I've cried with people that lost everything as we mucked their houses and cleaned them up. But I will tell you this, in the toughest of times, if you really think about it, as long as I'm alive, standing here drawing breath, then I can start over again if I have to. And so I make a list of 10 things I'm thankful for every day. And here's my list. Here's the first 5. These are my fundamental, foundational things. These are mine. They don't have to be yours, but these are mine. My faith, my wife, my son and his family now. And again, I've been doing this for about 25 years, and I started doing this when he was 8 years old. Our country and the work that I do. All right? So the faith thing, I don't want to get in trouble here. I don't want to make you mad at me. We're so sensitive nowadays. All right? But to me, without faith, nothing makes sense. This is a total waste of time. Just roll up the curtains and call it a day. My wife, all right, I put her on the list. 5'10", drop dead gorgeous. All right? We walk in the room together, all right? You look at her, then you look at me, then you look at her, then you look at me. Now, I'm in Texas. You guys will get this, right? You look at me like a calf looks at a new gate. You're like, what was she drinking? It's tequila, straight up, no lime, no salt, right? Still works today, as a matter of fact, from time to time, right? But I put my wife on the list. She's extraordinarily talented, got 2 master's degrees, educator with Memorial Hermann System, and a counselor. Has about a half of a counseling practice on the side, working with newlyweds and pre-marriage and stuff like that to help them get off to a good start. We do tons of marriage work together, and we absolutely love it. So I put her on the list, adventurer, just the coolest thing. She told me this morning, probably more than you want to know, but she said, have a good day. I said, sweetie, I woke up next to you. It's already a great day. That's the way I feel about it, though, right? My day started off amazing because I put 2 feet on the ground. I woke up next to the coolest woman I've ever known in my entire life. So I put her on the list. I put my son on the list. It started at 8 years old when I first started doing this. It's a habit I've done every day for 25 plus years now. And now I have Jason and Caitlin, right? And he married up too. I gave one good thing to him. That's the marry up gene. I did that really good job of that, right? She is 6 foot 2 inches tall and loves to wear 5-inch heels. Now, he's a solid 6'2", but whenever she's wearing heels and going out fancy, he looks like a shorty. It's awesome, right? And she wears those heels like she's a boss. You know, she doesn't hesitate when she puts those on. I just adore her. Every father's dream, as a matter of fact. Good, wonderful woman from a wonderful family. And then what I'm really blessed at, they're caretakers of Lachlan and Beckham, my 2 grandsons. That's their only job, is to keep them safe until I get back up there again. And so I put them on my list because he keeps me young and they keep me young. And my son and I just got back from a 13-day trip to Saskatchewan, Canada, hunting. And we drove up there and back. And the time I spent with him is, as they say in the commercial, priceless. I put our country on the list. And folks, this is about as goofy as I've seen our country get in all of my years, right? But I'm still blessed to be here. I travel abroad a lot. I'm overseas a lot and everything, and I'm always so glad to get back home, no matter what wonderful place I've got to go to. And I worry about our country. I don't worry about, here's what I worry about. I don't know about you, but here's what I worry about. We've lost the ability to disagree with each other in a respectful manner. I have no problem with the fact that I may or may not agree with leadership. I may or may not agree with any level of government. I respect them for having the job and doing the job. But I'm so concerned that we've lost the ability to have a civil discussion about something in a manner that could be as heated as possible, but respectful in nature. That makes me more worried about the future than anything else. But I always put our country on the list, and I'm so blessed to live here and so fortunate to be a part of that. And then the work that I do. I don't call it work. I have a quote, and it's kind of I stole it from something else and twitched it a little bit, and I can't remember who I stole it from. But here's my deal. The line between work and play should be so thin that nobody ever knows which one I'm doing. You with me? The line between work and play should be so thin that nobody ever knows which one I'm doing. And the people at the office, I had somebody ask me the other day, so why are you always so happy? I go, because it's my choice. All right? Every day's not a great day for me, but I'm always happy. Matter of fact, my wife bought me a T-shirt a long time ago that says, always happy, never satisfied. You with me? I'm always happy, but I'm always trying to grow and move forward and learn and everything. And then the other 4 or 5 things are kind of whatever's going on at the time. I did put you guys on the list today. I put HAR on the list. Any day I'm in front of an audience, I always put them on the list because without folks like you, I'm not blessed to do stuff like this. And so again, I make a list of 10 things I'm thankful for every day, and I'm going to encourage you to get in the habit of that. To get in the habit of doing that and see if that won't change your day. And so I love doing that. It's a lot of fun for me. The second thing I wanted to do was to talk about something that I think should challenge us moving forward. I have been fortunate to work with some great organizations through the years, and one of my favorites, Southwest Airlines. I love those guys. I would go up there, do training for them, speak for them. They'd send me back home with a check, and I felt like I owed them money. Right? That's the kind of organization that they had. And what I loved about them, and what Herb Kelleher would tell you, the reason they were successful in the book No is because their basic mission was, get this, to make a difference in the lives of each other first and in the lives of our clients on a daily basis. And he would tell you that's why they were so successful, because their mission statement said to make a difference in the lives of each other first. By the way, a quick little note. Internal customer service is more important than external. Always has been, always will be. If we can't treat each other right, we'll never treat them right. So I love it that we're getting together today to help each other, so that we can then go help others. Because I'm going to tell you what, it doesn't matter what we do moving forward. It will never have any foundation for success, and it will never blow up to anything bigger than something small unless it's about helping other people. And what I would tell you is, and what I know we saw during Harvey, we saw true humanity during Harvey. Am I right? We saw each other helping each other. We didn't care how old you were, how young you were, what color of skin you were, where you went to church, whether you didn't go. It didn't matter. And to me, we saw real humanity there. I think everything else that we're seeing right now is an abomination of real humanity, because whenever the chips are down, we pull together. And so it's a real cool thing for me to be here with you today and say, let's help each other first so that we can then help others. It's the whole put your mask on first so that you can help the person sitting next to you. And so it's a privilege to be a part of this and to share some time with you and to encourage you to do that. Now, I brought one more thing with me. Many of you have saw me walking around with this and asked me if I was previously a Catholic teacher. And I went, no. It was a bit judgmental. I will tell you this may be too much information. I carry this ruler with me when I have it, and in a minute you'll know why. It's a little fragile, and I want to make sure it doesn't get broken, and it has been stolen and broken, and so I had to do something else. And I was carrying it one day, and I just walked into the men's room. Haven't done that since. They just like, everybody's like, really? No. So anyway, I want to encourage you that we need to have a sense of urgency about this. Life is too short. It goes by way too quick for you and I not to get on board with something that we know changes the life of other people. Now, we know in America that on the average we live to be around 72 years old. All right? Women live to be older than men. Don't understand that. Nothing to be gained by discussing it, so we'll just leave it right there. But on the average, we live to be about 72 years old. That means that every inch on the ruler represents 2 years of our life. Right? 36 inches, 72 years, do the math, 2 inches. So, let's say that the average age in the room is 36 years old. About right, yeah? That's giving most of us the benefit of the doubt, right? By the way, I just love teaching classes. I talk about in class, all right, Lombardi time. How many of you know what Lombardi time is? How many of you have no idea who Vince Lombardi was? Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. With all the new agents in our classes, they go, who's Vince Lombardi? I just want to punch them in the nose, right? But anyway, so if the average age in the room is 36 years old, that means that half of our life is over with. We spend about a third of it sleeping, a third of it playing. That's all the time we have left. And you and I both know we're not guaranteed one moment of that. So I encourage you, manage this space up here. Get in the habit of doing something. If it's not making a list of 10 things you're thankful for every day, get in the habit of doing something. Listen to a podcast. Listen to something encouraging to make sure that we manage this space in a way that's positive. The second thing is realize we're not going anywhere of any significance unless our business and our life is based on how we invest in other people. And what a great organization to do that with. And the last thing is we need a sense of urgency. Thanks a lot for giving me the privilege of being with you today. God bless you guys. Have a great day. You bet.